Välkommen till Kungliga Vetenskapsakademin och den här presskonferensen då vi ska presentera årets Nobelpris i fysik. Welcome to this press conference and the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences where we will present this year's Nobel Prize in Physics. We will keep to our tradition and begin the presentation in Swedish and then continue in English. And you're of course welcome to ask questions in either language later on. Jag heter Hans Ellegren och är ständig sekreterare här på Kungliga Vetenskapsakademin. Till höger om mig sitter professor Ellen Måns, ordförande i Nobelkommittén för fysik. Och till vänster sitter professor Anders Irbäck, ledamot av Nobelkommittén för fysik och expert inom ämnesområdet. My name is Hans Ellegren. I'm the Secretary General of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. And to my right is Professor Ellen Måns, Chair of the Nobel Committee for Physics. And to my left is Professor Anders Irbäck, member of the Nobel Committee in Physics and expert in this field. Årets pris handlar om maskiner som lär sig. This year's prize is about machines that learn. Kungliga Vetenskapsakademin har idag beslutat att utdela 2024 års Nobelpris i fysik till John Hopfield, Princeton University, USA, och Geoffrey Hinton, University of Toronto, Kanada, för grundläggande upptäckter och uppfinningar som möjliggör maskininlärning och artificiella neuronnätverk. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has today decided to award the 2024 Nobel Prize in Physics to John Hopfield, Princeton University, USA, and Geoffrey Hinton, University of Toronto, Canada, for foundational discoveries and inventions that enable machine learning with artificial neural networks. Professor Ellen Måns will now give us a short summary of the prize. Please.
Thank you. Learning is a fascinating ability of the human brain. We can recognize images and speech and associate them with memories and past experiences. Billions of neurons wired together give us unique cognitive abilities. Artificial neural networks are inspired by this network of neurons in our brains. This year's laureates for the Nobel Prize in Physics, John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton, used fundamental concepts from statistical physics to design artificial neural networks that function as associative memories and find patterns in large data sets. These artificial neural networks have been used to advance research across physics topics as diverse as particle physics, material science, and astrophysics. They have also become part of our daily lives, for instance in facial recognition and language translation. The laureates' discoveries and inventions form the building blocks of machine learning that can aid humans in making faster and more reliable decisions, for instance, when diagnosing medical conditions. However, while machine learning has enormous benefits, its rapid development has also raised concerns about our future. Collectively, humans carry the responsibility for using this new technology in a safe and ethical way for the greatest benefit of humankind.
Thank you. Professor Irbäck, are you ready to give a more detailed presentation?
Thank you.
Please.
So this year's Nobel Prize in Physics is about artificial neural networks. Today, we know that this is a powerful computational approach. This was not evident 50 years ago, but it was known that we mammals are very good at pattern recognition by some sort of computation in our brains. And this sparked an interest in understanding the collective properties of networks of simplified neurons connected by couplings with a strength that could become weaker or it could become stronger. And the idea would then be to determine the strengths of the couplings to achieve a certain function, and doing that by training the network on many examples. A breakthrough came in 1982 when John Hopfield presented a dynamical network which could store and retrieve memories, and associative memories. The memory had simple binary 0-1 nodes, all nodes connected, pairwise connected. The states that remained unchanged with time were identified as memories. Moreover, it was possible to introduce an energy similar to energies one has in studying magnetic systems in physics. And that energy had the property that it was low in the states corresponding to memories. Metaphorically, the memories were located in valleys of an energy landscape. When starting from a distorted pattern with then a higher energy, it would slide down, the network would slide down in energy to a nearby valley. And by this process, the distorted pattern could be corrected. In follow-up work, John Hopfield also showed that this network was robust in the sense that the binary nodes could be replaced with analog ones, and he also showed how the network could be used to solve difficult optimization problems. The creation and explorations of this network by John Hopfield was a milestone in our understanding of the computational abilities of artificial neural networks. Another important discovery came soon afterwards by Geoffrey Hinton and Terence Sayanovsky. They created a stochastic version of the Hopfield network based on statistical physics and called the Boltzmann machine. So here the focus is on statistical distributions of patterns rather than individual patterns. It is a generative model. Once trained, it can be used to generate new instances from the learned distribution. It had the same basic structure as Hopfield's network, but there were two types of nodes, hidden and visible ones. And the hidden nodes were there to make it possible for the network to learn more general distributions. So while theoretically interesting, in practice, the Boltzmann machine was initially of limited use. It was prohibitively demanding computationally. However, a version with fewer couplings called the restricted Boltzmann machine developed into a versatile tool, and I will soon mention it again. So far, I talked about recurrent networks with feedback connections. Many of today's deep learning methods involve feed-forward networks, where information flow from an input layer to an output layer via hidden layers. In the 1980s, Hinton showed how such a network with hidden layers could be trained, and in that process, he also elucidated the important function of hidden layers. Then in the 1990s, there were applications of multi-layer networks, successful applications, for example, for the classification of handwritten digits. But the networks that one could train had relatively few couplings between consecutive layers. It remained a challenge to train more general deep structures with high connectivity between the layers. And here, and in fact, many gave up, but Hinton did not. And Hinton overcame this barrier by using this restricted Boltzmann machine. He used it to pre-train deep structures, and by this method, he succeeded in implementing examples of deep and dense structures, which was a breakthrough toward deep learning. Finally, so now I have talked about physics, how physics has been a driving force in behind innovation and development in artificial neural network. It's also interesting to see how physics as a research field is benefiting from these methods. And one example, well-established example here, is data analysis in particle physics and astrophysics. An increasingly important application is in modeling materials. For example, to search for novel, more efficient solar cells. Yet another example is in explicit physics-based climate modeling to enable higher resolution. Finally, I want also to mention two applications, successful applications outside the physics area, protein structure prediction and analysis of medical images. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Irbeck. I think we might have John Hopfield or Geoff Hinton with us on phone. Good morning, Professor Hinton.
Good morning.
Please accept our warmest congratulations to receiving the Nobel Prize in Physics.
Thank you very much.
How do you feel right now?
I'm flabbergasted. I had no idea this would happen. I'm very surprised.
I could imagine. I'm sitting here in this beautiful session hall of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. Here at the press conference, there are many interested journalists from both the Swedish and the international press. Would you be ready to take some questions from them?
Yes.
Yes, please. Sveriges Television.
Thank you. My warmest congratulations to your achievements and to this year's Nobel Prize in Physics. My name is Susan Ritzen, and my question comes from Swedish television. I know many of our viewers, also lay people, are very curious about the discoveries awarded here today. I wonder, do you remember when you realized your breakthrough awarded today, if you can bring us back in time briefly? And what were the reasons for or the inspiration for these revelations?
So I remember a couple of occasions with two of my mentors. So I have an enormous debt to David Rumelhart and Terry Sinofsky. With David Rumelhart, we rediscovered the backpropagation algorithm, and that was in the beginning of 1982. And with Terry Sinofsky, Terry and I discovered a learning algorithm for Hopfield nets that had hidden units. And I remember very well going to a meeting in Rochester where John Hopfield talked, and I first learned about the Hopfield energy function for neural networks, and after that, Terry and I worked feverishly on how to generalize neural networks to have hidden units. And at the beginning of 1982, we came up with a learning algorithm for Boltzmann machines, which are Hopfield nets with hidden units. So the most exciting times were with David Rumelhart on backpropagation and Terry Sinofsky on Boltzmann machines.
Thank you.
Okay. More questions? First here.
Hello, Bogumił Radajewski from the Polish television. Congratulations. The question I have is a little bit about the future, because obviously we are very excited about what neural networks and machine learning can do now. But what we're even more excited is the prospect of what they could do in the future. What are your predictions about the degree of influence that this technology is going to have on our civilization?
I think it will have a huge influence. It will be comparable with the Industrial Revolution, but instead of exceeding people in physical strength, it's going to exceed people in intellectual ability. We have no experience of what it's like to have things smarter than us, and it's going to be wonderful in many respects. But in areas like healthcare, it's going to give us much better healthcare. In almost all industries, it's going to make them more efficient. People are going to be able to do the same amount of work with an AI assistant in much less time. It'll mean huge improvements in productivity, but we also have to worry about a number of possible bad consequences, particularly the threat of these things getting out of control.
I think first we have here and then there.
Hi, Simon Campanello with Dagens Nyheter. Congratulations on the prize. My question is, last year you said in an interview with New York Times that you regret part of your life's work because of the risks with artificial intelligence. How do you feel about it today?
There's two kinds of regret. There's regrets where you feel guilty because you did something you knew you shouldn't have done. And then there's regret where you did something that you would do again in the same circumstances, but it may in the end not turn out well. That second kind of regret I have. In the same circumstances, I would do the same again. But I am worried that the overall consequence of this might be systems more intelligent than us that eventually take control.
Yes, please.
Hi, congratulations on the prize. My name is Anneli Megner-Arn, and I'm from TV4, a Swedish TV channel. I would like to know, you developed this Boltzmann machine, and I wonder what type of AI do you has come out of it, like GPT, or how you see breast cancer in X-rays, or how you make funny pictures in DALL-E. What kind of AI do your research build on your research?
So there were two different learning algorithms I was involved in. One was the Boltzmann machine, which was a learning algorithm for Hopfield nets with hidden units. And we did eventually find a practical version of that. But that's not what's led to the main progress currently in neural nets. That's the backpropagation algorithm. And this is a way to get a neural net to learn anything. And it's the backpropagation algorithm that's led to the huge surge in AI applications and in the ability to recognize images and understand speech and to deal with natural language. It's not the Boltzmann machine that did that, it's the backpropagation algorithm.
More questions? Yeah, one here, please.
Hi, my name is Bill. I'm from the Swedish paper Ny Teknik. Do you have any favorite AI tool that you use?
I actually use GPT-4 quite a lot. Whenever I want to know the answer to anything, I just go and ask GPT-4. I don't totally trust it because it can hallucinate, but on almost everything, it's a not very good expert, and that's very useful.
Okay. I don't see any more. Yeah. Is there one more hand there, please, in the back?
Yes, hello. Congratulations, Paul Rees from Al Jazeera English. Could you just give us a sense of where you were when you got the call, how it affected you? Is this a day you have in your diary just in case you get that call, or is it a bolt from the blue?
It was a bolt from the blue. I'm in a cheap hotel in California that doesn't have an internet connection and doesn't have a very good phone connection. I was going to get an MRI scan today, but I think I'll have to cancel that.
Okay, this seems to be the last question from the press for you, Professor Hinton. Thank you, and once again, our warmest congratulations. We look forward to see you here in Stockholm in December for the Nobel Prize ceremony.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's move on to more questions about the physics prize and the research involved, or if you want to ask the committee members questions about their work. And again, questions are welcome in either English or Swedish. Please.
Yes, if these two scientists wouldn't have existed, would we have like GPT then?
Professor Måns, do you want to address that?
That's a very good, difficult question to answer because it's hard to imagine. They have contributed, of course, enormously very early in the progress of this technology. So in the 80s, these first steps were taken, and later on, other scientists have built upon these developments. So in a sense, it may have been difficult without those groundbreaking first discoveries and inventions.
Sveriges Television.
I'm thinking since John J. Hopfield is not here, I was wondering a little bit about what makes you most, what do you think is the most exciting part of his discoveries?
Professor Ibeck, do you want to address that?
When it comes to his network, he was parts of it had been discussed earlier, but he was able to put pieces together to have create a network with a clear function and clear principles for how it worked, and it meant a lot in the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One more question here.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I also wonder about the worries that Geoffrey Hinton expressed. What are your worries about this technology?
Professor Måns, you want to address?
Well, these type of worries are expressed a lot and discussed in the scientific community, and I think it is very good that they are discussed, and it comes. It contributes to the knowledge about machine learning in the society. I think it's important that as many people as possible learn about the mechanisms of machine learning, so that it's not just in the hands of a few individuals. So I think, of course, Professor Hinton is one of many who express their views on this, and yeah, I think that's very good. Yeah.
Maybe I can add there that there are, of course, many discoveries and inventions over the time that has been potentially possible to misuse, but it's sort of a common responsibility for a society to have regulations to avoid that to happen, and I think that would apply too when it comes to artificial intelligence. I think that is it, actually. Time is running out. Thank you for your interest in participating in this press conference. We hope to see you again here tomorrow when we will present the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. So, thank you.